Imagine serving time in a prison where you have a private room, cook your own meals, and even have a key to your cell. Sounds more like a budget hotel, right?
Here you have the bathroom. You have your TV here and a fridge. Yeah.
A fridge.
Well, that's reality in some European prisons. Meanwhile, in the United States, thousands of inmates are crammed into overcrowded cells, battling for space and dignity. How did we end up with such different systems? Let's dive in and uncover the surprising contrasts. Prison population. The United States has one of the highest incarceration rates in the world, with over 2 million people behind bars. In contrast, most European countries have much lower incarceration rates, often 10 times lower per capita. Sentencing lengths.
Adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to life in prison with credit for 1,000.
In the USA, life sentences and long prison terms are common. Meanwhile, in Europe, life sentences are rare, and many inmates serve a maximum of 15 to 20 years, even for serious crimes. Approach to rehabilitation versus punishment. In Europe, the justice system emphasizes rehabilitation. Prisons provide therapy, job training, and reintegration programs. In the USA, the system focuses more on punishment and deterrence, often leading to repeat offenders. Death penalty.
I'm just gonna put on this microphone just so my team and witnesses, they can hear the last words to your family.
The USA still has the death penalty in some states, with executions carried out by lethal injection or other methods. In contrast, no European country uses capital punishment. It has been abolished across the continent. Many European nations see it as a violation of human rights. Prison guard to inmate ratio. European prisons typically have more guards per inmate, leading to better supervision and safety. This allowed for more interaction between guards and inmates, reducing tension and fostering rehabilitation. In the USA, prisons often struggle with understaffing, leading to more violence, delayed response times, and increased reliance on surveillance technology rather than direct oversight.
Inmates at Vaughan Correctional Center, a maximum security prison in Delaware, took 6 correctional officers and a counselor hostage.
Education and work programs. In Europe, many prisons offer vocational training, university courses, and jobs to help inmates reintegrate into society. In the USA, some prisons offer work programs, but many inmates do low-paid or unpaid labor, making prison feel like the worst internship ever. Use of solitary confinement. American prisons frequently use solitary confinement, sometimes for months or even years. It's like being grounded, but at the extreme, I might start talking to my shoes level. In Europe, solitary confinement is heavily restricted and rarely exceeds a few weeks. Private versus public prisons. The USA has a for-profit prison industry where private companies run facilities. That's right, someone figured out how to turn incarceration into a business model. Meanwhile, in Europe, prisons are almost always government-run with a focus on human rights instead of corporate profits. Health support. European prisons provide free healthcare, including mental health support. In the USA, inmates often struggle to get proper medical care, and mental health services are limited. Prison conditions. European prisons like those in Norway or Germany focus on rehabilitation, with private rooms, comfortable furniture, and access to education.
Karsten was convicted of killing a man in Brazil. This is his cell block with a full kitchen, big screen TV, laundry room.
In the USA, many prisons are overcrowded and have harsh conditions, especially in maximum security facilities. Visitation rights. European prisoners get more frequent and longer visits from family, including private family rooms in some countries. Some European countries even allow weekend visits where families can stay overnight in designated areas. In American prisons, visits are often short and restricted, with some inmates only getting video calls instead of in-person visits. Technology and surveillance. In the USA, prisons rely heavily on high-tech security systems, including facial recognition, motion sensors, and extensive CCTV networks. In Europe, while security is important, prisons often focus more on human oversight and social rehabilitation, rather than an overwhelming reliance on technology. Food quality and nutrition meals in American prisons are often mass-produced and low quality, sometimes lacking nutrition due to budget constraints.
It's not tuna for real. We don't know what that is, man. All I can tell you, it's not really edible, bro.
In Europe, many prisons offer freshly cooked meals and even allow inmates to prepare their own food as part of rehabilitation efforts. Outdoor and recreational activities. European prisons encourage physical exercise and outdoor activities, with some offering access to gardens, sports facilities, and even yoga classes. In the USA, recreational opportunities vary, but many prisons limit outdoor time, especially in high-security facilities where inmates may get only 1 hour a day outside. Prison labor and wages. In the USA, prisoners often work for very low wages, sometimes as little as a few cents per hour, performing jobs for private companies or prison-run businesses.
And some of the biggest private companies are now enjoying the fruits of a cheap and readily available workforce, with tens of millions of dollars spent by private prisons to keep their jails full.
In Europe, prisoners typically receive higher wages, allowing them to save money for reintegration upon release. Drug policy and treatment. In Europe, many prisons offer drug rehabilitation programs to treat addiction. In the USA, drug offenders often receive long sentences rather than treatment because apparently, locking someone up is a better way to fix addiction than medical care. Juvenile justice.
Gingrich is believed to be the youngest person in Indiana ever sentenced to prison as an adult.
Juveniles in the United States can sometimes be tried as adults and sent to adult prisons.
You want to fight? Come in here. You're in a place where you can fight every day. Either you're going to fight them or you're going to fight us.
Often facing the same harsh conditions as older inmates. In contrast, European countries keep juvenile offenders separate from adults, placing them in rehabilitation-focused facilities with an emphasis on education and psychological support to prevent reoffending. Early release and parole. In Europe, many inmates qualify for early release after serving part of their sentence. In the USA, parole is often harder to obtain.
In the matter of parole for Timothy Glass, it is the unanimous decision of the board that parole will be denied at this time,
making it feel like escaping Alcatraz might be easier than getting an early release. Prison reentry support. European countries place a strong emphasis on supporting inmates as they transition back into society. Many prisons offer comprehensive reentry programs that include housing assistance, job placement, and post-release counselings. In the US, while there are some reentry programs, they are often underfunded.
Well, I went and got me a nice hot barbecue sandwich and a fresh pack of Marlboro cigarettes. Cost almost $5. The last time I was here was $2.50, now they're $5.
And ex-inmates face significant challenges reintegrating into society, such as limited job opportunities and a lack of social support, contributing to high recidivism rates. Prison costs per inmate. The USA spends $30,000 to $60,000 per inmate per year, but much of this goes to security rather than rehabilitation. In Europe, spending varies by country, but generally ranges from $20,000 to $50,000 per inmate per year, with a greater focus on education, vocational training, and reintegration programs rather than strict security measures. While prisons in both regions serve the same purpose, the USA focuses more on punishment and deterrence, while Europe prioritizes rehabilitation and reintegration. This leads to fewer repeat offenders in Europe, while the USA struggles with high recidivism rates. What do you think about these differences? Should the USA adopt a more European approach, or is its system justified? And if you found this comparison interesting, don't forget to like, comment, and share.